All right, guys, so springtime is here already. We've already got the storms coming through. It's that time of year. We're starting to get that frog bite, and that's what I'm trying to ramp y'all up for, is for the frog bite and fish just like this. So stay tuned, and we're gonna walk through what I've got in my frog box. So guys, there's just something about catching bass on the frog. I don't know what it is, but it's definitely my favorite way to catch fish. So what I want to do, I want to kind of go through my frog box, show you the frogs that I normally carry, the ones that I've been real successful with, and the ones that I think I just ended up buying. I don't really throw a lot because I don't like the way they swim. So I don't want you to make that same mistake and buy an expensive frog. So we're going to start off with my absolutely, hands down, my favorite frog. And that's this guy right here. This is the Booyah Pad Crasher. So I've got lots of them. We'll do little zoomed up pictures here for you. But I absolutely love this frog. I've gone through, I can't even tell you, probably 6 or 7 of them in the last year. And there's a couple colors that I really like to buy in that Booyah Pad Crasher. Driving around, especially in the springtime, you'll notice frogs on the side of the road that are a little flat. And the color of those frogs are these guys right here. It's that kind of brown color. So nice brown legs on them. They got the yellow stripes on the top. However, I do a lot of fishing after work with frogs. Some of these smaller ponds and so forth, like you just saw. So some of those colors I like to throw are just jet black, blue, kind of purplish legs. Those seem to work really, really well for me as well. And then in those Booyah Pad Crashers, right after the frogs go ahead and have their little hatch, you got to make sure to have some of the small frogs in your box. So if you compare that, the big one to the little one, you can tell right away there's a lot smaller in size. Some of the other frogs out there that are real popular, again kind of sticking to that same color, is this guy right here. This is the Savage frog. It's got 2 straight legs kind of hanging off of it, but one of the things that I do like about this one is it has a single hook on the back side, so that does make it really nice. You know, setting that single hook in the roof of the mouth is a lot easier than trying to bury 2 hooks in the top of the mouth. Sticking to the single hook idea is one of the newer ones I just picked up. You probably saw it on the Tackle Tuesday. It's this guy right here. It's the Doomsday Fraud. Now, I threw this one in the pocket today to go check it out. I didn't get a chance to throw it. I had a lot of other people out there trying to fish this same little area, and I pretty much only got that one little swirl, went back about 20 minutes later, ended up getting another bite. But again, same concept. I've got a giant worm hook in there. It'll jump up and single hook in the roof of the mouth. Another one that does that is the River to Sea. This is the Larry Dahlberg diving frog. And so it has on top of it this giant piece of plastic that acts like a weed guard, so you can see you just go right over the top. But what's nice about this frog is it does go up underneath lily pads and then rises back up. The one thing I wasn't expecting about this is it's a hard body. I was expecting a hollow body when I saw the advertisements, but then once I got it in my hands, it's a hard body, sort of like a crankbait. So it's a little bit different hook set. However, it does have a rather large hook, so that helps out. Sticking to the River to Sea is this guy right here. This is a popper mouth as well. It does have 2 little holes, so it creates a bubble trail. Still hollow body. Hooks are pointed pretty much in line. The only thing I don't like about this frog, if you compare it to, say, a Booyah Pad Crasher that's got the hollow mouth on it, is that the hollow mouth is built into the body, so it stays streamlined. This one, the mouth is rigid. So when you go to set that hook, you've got to get past that cup on that mouth, and that's a little bit more difficult than, say, the Pad Crasher here that just crushes down nice and easy. The whole mouth will fold up so you can still get a solid hook set. I do not have a good hookup ratio with this frog. Again, that's the River to Sea popping mouth. Let's see, what else do I got out there? There's the Terminator, or it's by Storm, but it's the Terminator. If you're looking for a frog that you really want to walk, this is a great one for that. It has that nice slim tapered body to it. It's a larger profile. I think it comes in like 5 different colors, like a red and black, this green that you see here, brown and white, a yellow, and I think it comes in a white as well. I might be missing a color, but this one walks really well. You don't have to trim one leg shorter than the other one to get it to walk, and that's a good one right there for that particular application. I don't so much as like to walk the dog with a frog as I like to hop it. I want it to kind of do this motion, and I feel like it pushes a bigger wake out and away, and then when I kill it, it sits there, and I do want it to sit down a little bit. So if you can get a frog to sit not so flat in the water, but to sit down a little bit, when that bass comes up and hits, that really helps. What else do I got in the box? I got a Aspro here. I know lots of people, I still got line tied to it, lots of people love the Aspro frog. It's real popular for them. However, the one thing that I don't like about the Aspro frog is I feel like the hooks don't lay tight to the body. I feel like the hook is always offset to one side, and I've looked at lots of Spros. You know, there's a couple things you can do to kind of fix that. You can get in there with a pair of pliers and kind of tweak and bend it and modify it. It does have a good body on it. It's not as soft as the Booyah, but it does hold up. It's just a really tough bait. So that kind of covers all the hollow body frogs, the Larry Dogberg diver. Let me show you two other ones that are out there that aren't frogs, but they're hollow bodies. And so the first one right here is the live target field mouse. It's a very interesting concept. You know, some of the areas I'm at, there's a lot of construction, so the little critters out there in the field kind of get pushed around, and so something like this that I can scurry across the surface real fast, it gets more of a reaction strike than anything. It's a longer body. This one does walk well because it's a longer body, but haven't had a ton of fish on it just because I don't give it its fair share of time. And that's the field mouse. It comes in 3 different colors. It's an interesting concept. The other one by Live Target here, this one came out, and I mean, it caught the market by storm. Lots and lots of people started throwing this, and it's got a really unique swimming action, and it is the Live Target swimming perch, I think, or the sun perch is what they call it. But again, it's a little bait fish pattern. It is hollow body. It has trocar hooks, so it's super sharp. As you know, that trocar hook kind of is sharp going up, and so it's kind of a cutting design on that hook. It has a very unique kind of swimming pattern to that effect. You can get it to kind of go underneath the lily pads, which can be very effective. That way the bass doesn't lose track of it when it goes over the top of the lily pad. So that's very interesting as well. The Live Target frog. That's a great frog. That's the one that you happen to see earlier in this clip. That's what I caught that fish on. I've got it tied on. I'll show you the combo here in a second, just so you can kind of see what that looks like. And then the last style of frogs really is something, you know, just like this. There's a couple of different brands out there. Top Toad does a hollow body one, but Zoom, Bass Pro, Strike King, all of these, it's a soft plastic frog. It is a solid body, and it takes a single hook. So you can put your swim bait hook, your wide gap in there, let it lay down inside. It's got 2 of these little kicking legs. So it is very similar to the original, the Snag Proof. This one's a little bit more of the hollow body, but it's got those kind of rigid legs on it, so they put off a lot of disturbance in the water. So I'll make these out and I'll just dig these quick. So when they're feeding aggressive and you want a little bit of sound on the surface, that's where the Snag Proof or a soft body works really well. And now the last technique that's kind of gained some popularity, it's not new by any means, but I believe one of the pros, he was throwing this, he had some success, excuse me, and so that went real quick like wildfire, and that is the Buzzbait Toad. So this one right here just happens to be the Booyah Buzzbait. It's got a black blade on it with one of the clackers, which I'm not a huge fan of it when I'm throwing it just with like a swim bait pattern or a skirted paddle tail. So I went ahead and took that off, went ahead and put one of these soft plastic Bass Pro frogs on there. That way I can cast it out there and I can burn it along the surface, and I've got all kinds of action out there. It really draws their attention, but again, they have to be feeding aggressive for something like that. And then of course the last thing is, if you're starting to get short strikes whenever it comes to these fish, they're not really committing on it, they're kind of just coming up and nipping the back of it. There is something really cool here. They're by Lake Fork. It's a trailer hook for the frogs. And so it's got 2 little rings on it, and you just grab those rings and you just pull it over the existing hooks, and then you pull the legs through, and now I've got that stinger trailer hook hanging way out the back. However, this is not Now, you can't just throw this up on the bank and pull it back in, throw it over a tree branch. You got to be a lot more careful with this because that trailer hook will hang up on everything. So you got to pay attention to what the fish wants. Are they just real timid to it and they're barely taking it? Are you kind of catching them on that open water, or are you catching those fish down in the slop? So speaking of catching the fish down in the slop, let me talk to you about my setup and what it is that I throw to catch these fish. So my setup, it happens to be, there we go, it is a Ducket rod. It is the Ghost. It is 7.3 power. It's a 7.3 rod, and it is fast, heavy rod. I mean, super, super heavy here. I've got it paired up with the 201 Chronarch. This is a 7-to-1 gear ratio. You want a really fast gear ratio. Whenever you feel that fish start to pull on you and you set that hook, you need to be able to get that fish out of the junk, out of the garbage, the lily pads, whatever it is they're sitting down inside of. So a real fast gear ratio is gonna help you. If you're throwing a 6.4 or something slower like a 5.5, a 5.3, you're gonna lose a lot of fish. This is one of those fights that you want to keep that rod really, really bent and use the butt section of that rod to bring that fish in. This one happens to be that live target that I was talking about just a minute ago. It's got that brown back, white belly, and it does have a little bit of yellow up under that chin. I think that kind of helps for that fish to target. And so what I've got it paired up with is 65-pound test. This is braided line. It is Suffix 832. I really, really like this line. It's not so broken in out of the box like, say, a Power Pro Super Slick 8, but this is phenomenal line for this particular situation. And this rod, it's got just enough tip on it so I can be patient enough to wait for that fish to pull, but it is going to be a skill set that you're going to have to learn. If you are a person that throws a frog a lot, you know what the hookup ratio is like, and it's a fun game because it can be a very frustrating game. But that's kind of my setup, rod and reel right there. Again, my favorite frog to throw is the Booyah Pad Crasher. You'll see it down below. I really, really like it. And the frog bite is just around the corner. I mean, it's any week now. The rains have started, so the frogs are about to breed. There's gonna be tadpoles everywhere, and so the bass are gonna start chasing those frogs. And let me tell you, there is nothing more exciting than a frog bite. I know everybody in my community, we are itching for it to start. It just so happens I got lucky tonight and ended up with one. So if you got any, oh, and the last thing, polymer knot, guys. I tie a polymer knot whenever it comes to attaching these frogs. I don't do a leader, I don't do anything of that nature. I tie straight to the lure. And that polymer knot really cinches down and grabs on that braid. So that's real, real important because I do set that hook real hard. You got to be able to drive those hooks up into the roof of its mouth. So that kind of wraps it up for today, guys. If you got any questions about the lures you saw here, if you got any questions about what it is I'm doing to catch fish on the frog, please comment down below. If you like this video, you want to continue seeing these videos, be sure to subscribe. It really helps to support the channel. If you got more questions or you want to kind of check out some of the stuff in between, run over to my Facebook page. You'll see it posted down here. If you just want some photos to kind of scroll through and check out, I've got an Instagram feed. You can also see that down below. I think it's pretty good Instagram feed. Of course, you can check out some of my followers. You know, I've got lots of bass fishing guys on there as well, and girls, of course. So until next time, guys, as always, thanks for watching.